Welcome back to the Gridiron Grind with Andrew and Lance. This episode's all going to be all about a victory Tuesday. Minnesota finally got a win, breaking their four-game losing streak. I think it was four, might have been five. I don't know. It's been too long since we won at Detroit. But before I get into all those points and just beautiful football all around for one time this year, I need to check on my buddy Lance. How are you doing after Monday night? Are you surviving? Are you alive?
Just taking things one day at a time, buddy. That's all I can do. Yeah, we will get to it in the next episode, but the sky might be falling.
And that was tough. Like you said, we'll get into it next episode, but every opportunity to win that game and just kept shooting yourself in the foot over and over and over. Um, but we'll touch on that on the next one. Be sure to watch that one, everyone, because I'm sure Lance has a lot to get off his chest, especially about one person in particular who got me zero point 0.4 fantasy points. I still won, by the way. I still got the win because the rest of my team played well. And I feel bad for the guy I went up against this week. I think it was Locow because I knocked him out of the playoffs. I was like, oh man, sorry. Sorry, bud. But I had to get the win. And ironically, before I get into my takes, have you seen the playoffs in our 16 team Sandlot League? Have you seen that?
That was my point for the next episode, Andrew.
Okay, we'll touch on that next episode then. I just saw this one. I was like, oh, interesting. Okay, so little lead to the next one. Okay, let's get into this. Commanders at Vikings. So the first couple points I want to make is one, I'm tired of the narrative of everyone thinking that the Commanders were tanking and that the Vikings should tank. Tanking does not happen. It's rare that it happens because these players are professional grown men who get paid to do this and want to play their best every single week. Look at the Titans. The Titans won last week. And hey, that was just a fun pick by me. I can't victory lap that because I truly didn't think the Titans were going to win. I just picked them just randomly because I thought it'd be fun. And hey, they pulled it off. I'll take I'll take the W on that, but I that wasn't belief on my part. That was just I'll pick them. But the Titans won last week, which ruined their number one pick. They now have the third pick currently. Things could change. There's still four games left, but teams don't tank. That's just my point. They want to play their hardest. So Vikings
Well,
fans out there, yeah, go ahead.
don't you think it's worth pointing out NFL teams don't tank or don't tank?
Yeah, yeah, it's very rare. It's probably happened like three or four times that I can think of in the NFL's history.
Right, but the NFL, I think the NBA, I think there's maybe an argument to be made that
Oh
tanking
yes,
is a habit of the culture.
yes, 100%, but not in the NFL, not at all. Um, and there's this narrative that Vikings fans were wanting Minnesota to continue to lose, to raise their draft pick rankings. Well, the highest we could have gone is probably like the sixth or seventh pick because we already had four wins banked. And there's teams with one or two wins. So highest we're getting is probably like six or seven. Right now we're sitting at 11. That's not a big drop off. And we're probably going to win like maybe two more games. So we're probably going to be picking around 13-ish, maybe 14. And that's not bad. You can get a really good player at pick 13 or with 10 draft picks, which I think we have, you can move up a little bit if there's someone you're really looking for. So the whole tankathon narrative that everyone wants is ridiculous. It's annoying, and it just needs to stop. Um, because these players are grown men, and we want to see them play well together. The record doesn't matter now. Playoffs, even though technically Minnesota hasn't been eliminated, they need so much help. So that's not even on the radar right now. Um, but what we want to see is the core players that are going to be on this team next year play well together. And we saw that last week, or I should say Sunday, against the Commanders. For the first time all year, Our starting five offensive line that we had in mind played the whole game. Last week against the Seahawks, they started, but there was injuries. We had backups again in there. This was the first week from snap one to the end of the game where all five offensive linemen were on the field. It was beautiful to see. Was it perfect? No. We averaged 4.8 yards a carry. McCarthy got sacked 4 times. Some of that was his own fault, but it was finally good to see them all out there, get some chemistry because they need that going into next year because four of those guys are guaranteed to be back. Only one that's kind of up in the air is Ryan Kelly. But just want to get that narrative out there. And then the whole thing about the Commanders didn't show up. They didn't care. They weren't playing to win. I'm sorry. Did they start Jaden Daniels? Yes, they did. So they cared. I'm not saying they were trying to make the playoffs and make a run because they were already eliminated, but they have pride. Dan Quinn's not going to let this team just go out there and not play their hardest. They started Jaden Daniels. They have Debo Samuel on that team, Bobby Wagner. They're not going to just go out there and just go through the motions. They're going to play hard. Those are savvy veterans. So this whole narrative of Minnesota got an easy win, it's just the Commanders. They weren't there showing up. Minnesota should have lost. They should have tanked. All that is silly. It's not true. It's wrong. These are two prideful teams going at it, wanting to get a win. And you can't tell me that that first drive that the Commanders drove down the field and just dropped a fourth down touchdown pass that they weren't trying. And then last week, when they almost beat the Broncos, if Marcus Mariota throws that pass like, a foot higher, they win that game because that running back in the flat was wide open for that 2-point conversion. But Nick Benito made a great play, tipped the ball away. So you can't tell me that they weren't playing hard. Wanted to get that out of the way. Um, Another interesting fact is that this is the first time, I forgot the stat, but a first time in a long time that a team
Dude,
gets shut out one week and then they shut out the next team the next week. That's just wild and crazy. That doesn't happen in this league. And it has a lot to do with coaching philosophy. And I'll get into that, but I want to start with the defense. They've been playing well all year, most of the year. There's been a couple games where they didn't show up, and they would admit it. Like the Falcons game, Bijan Robinson was running all over the place against them. The Steelers game, Kenneth Gainwell was running all over the place against them. But they have tightened the screws, and like the past 3 to 5 weeks, they've been playing at a playoff level. They've been playing really well. And this game in particular, they did get gashed a little bit on the ground, but it wasn't like bad. It wasn't consistent. It was little paper cuts here and there, but they kept them under control. The Commanders averaged 4.7 yards a carry. Chris Rodriguez had 52 yards on 5.2 yards carry. That's a little high. You want that a little bit lower, but that's not awful. They played well. But the biggest thing was their pass defense. They were everywhere. They were smothering Jaden Daniels and Marcus Mariota. We only got 2 sacks, but you wouldn't have believed that if you watched the game because they were not comfortable all game long. And when the game was still in competitive mode, I think it was probably like 14-0 or 17-0 in like the second or third quarter. I think it was the third quarter where this game is still winnable for the Commanders if certain things go right. They're still fighting. Um, Andrew Van Ginkel has the classic Andrew Van Ginkel play, and that play kind of changed the rest of the game because the Commanders were on our side of the field, past the 50, getting close to scoring range. Their offense was moving the ball a little bit during that first half. They couldn't quite get in the end zone or kick a field goal, but they were moving the ball. And they've been throwing a lot of screen passes that have been working because Minnesota likes the blitz. And so you throw to the outside, there's only 2 guys to block, and you get good blocking, off to the races. And what Van Ginkel is really good at doing is act like he's going to rush, then back up really quickly, get in that immediate passing lane. He tipped the ball up, picked it off, and was off to the races. I think it was Terry McLaurin who, again, you can't tell me these guys aren't playing hard. He ran from the other side of the field all the way down to catch Andrew Van Ginkel from preventing him from scoring a touchdown. But during that play, I felt bad because Jane Daniels was also trying to run him down, and Isaiah Rodgers goes and destroys him, knocks him down, lands on his elbow, and then he leaves. He has to leave the game, and you could tell he has high emotions and he's upset. Felt bad for that, but hey, that wasn't dirty at all. I'll get to a play that I think was a little dirty, which I don't like this, but we'll get to that. I think this was the fourth quarter when that happened. But that sets up another touchdown play where we go up, I think 24-0. That's the base of the game right there. Nothing else matters. And that was because of the defense. And then shortly after that, Harrison Smith does a classic Harrison Smith thing where he's playing safety, but he reads Marcus Mariota's eyes. He cuts a pass off, intercepts it, and then him being like 35 or 36, I forget how old he is, you can tell that he did want to get hit because he immediately was like, okay, who wants this ball? He was trying to lateral it to someone. He was like, where's Rogers? Because you know he could score from here, but he didn't find anyone because he had that ball just dangling out to the side, like, who wants it? Who wants it? I don't want this. And so he just laid down. It was kind of funny. You can see he looked like Aaron Rodgers out there. I don't want to get hit, which can't blame him. He's 35, 36. But it was really cool because in the locker room after the game, he was really emotional. This is his last year. It's guaranteed because he was getting just basic questions asked in the locker room, and he was tearing up, getting emotional. How much fun he's having. Because you can tell that he's thinking, I only have like 4 games left, so I got to make the most of it. And then later in the game, Javon Hargrave gets a strip sack on Marcus Mariota, picks it up, so we get 3 turnovers this game. We hold them to 99 total passing yards, which is phenomenal. 2 interceptions, a fumble, shut them out. Our special teams played pretty well as well. No turnovers this game, which is like maybe the first time ever this year that we haven't turned the ball over once. So we won the turnover battle 3-0. Of course, we're going to win that. Now get to the offense. I got to give so much credit to KOC because he deserved like probably 80% of the blame this year, which totally fair because he hasn't developed the guys he needs to. He's the head coach of this team. There wasn't good chemistry. There was some weird drama going on, and he was calling some games where you're thinking, what are we doing here? It's 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, and we're taking deep shots. And what are we doing here in the red zone, having so many pass plays and putting JJ McCarthy out there to drive where he's looking deep and not sure what he sees, holding on to the ball, getting sacked so many times. This game, he finally came to his senses and said, you know what? Let's make it really simple right out the gate. Now, again, we won 31-0, so that affects us a little bit, but 34 rushing attempts to 23 pass attempts for a Kevin O'Connell game.
It's
That
great.
is a miracle. And like I said, we won 31-0. We had control of this game from the jump, basically. And I loved how we won the toss and we wanted the ball. I love that. There are some people who's like, no, I prefer if they kicked it. No, get us the ball, get our offense some confidence. And what do? We march down the field, very meticulous, very, very organized, very well, well played drive. Dink dunk, touchdown. It was beautiful. And it kind of looked like the Michigan offense that J.J. McCarthy ran in college, where run the ball, and then on 3rd down on must pass plays, McCarthy makes a play, gets the first down with his arm or his legs, go up 7-0. And like I said, I think I sent you this message like halfway through. Like this is an elite play calling job by KOC that I had no issues with it all game long, and I didn't. It was beautiful. We focused on the run game. Aaron Jones had 14 carries for 76 yards. He looked great. Jordan Mason, 11 carries for 52 yards. He looked great. He got in the end zone. JJ McCarthy, so these 6 runs were actually passes. So I guess overall, we actually probably called more pass plays than run plays. But he had 6 carries for 19 yards, and I think 2 or 3 of those were for first downs. So, and they were big first downs. But great play calling by KOC. There was one play that Justin Jefferson wants back. There was a shot to the corner of the end zone
Mm-hmm.
where was the ball placed well? No, it could have been a little bit better. It could have been a little bit higher or a little bit more toward the corner. But this is still a ball that Justin Jefferson catches 9 times out of 10. The defender got his fingertips on it, yes, but that's a ball JJ catches, and he just didn't pull it in. You know he wants that back. That was like a 40-yard bomb, one-on-one, and it was a little underthrown, but still enough where that should have been caught. If that's caught, totally different story on this whole narrative. Like, does Jefferson want out? No, he does not. His post game press conference was awesome because he had two catches for like 11 yards again this game, and he was getting asked, "How do you feel about not getting the ball these past couple games?" He said, "I'd rather not get the ball and get a win. That's all that matters. So we got the win," and you can tell he meant it. And there was a couple plays where if you watch him, watch his body language, we get a first down, he's not involved. He's clapping his hands excited because they're moving the ball. Offense is running smoothly. That's what he cares about. This is his worst year statistically. That sucks, especially for us who draft him in fantasy like me. But it's not all just on McCarthy because again, he should have caught that 40-yard touchdown pass, which would have been huge. But it was a tough catch, so we move on. The one part I'm concerned about is Jordan Addison. He is dropping so many passes, ones that are just in his breadbasket. The one to Jefferson, that was a really tough catch, one he should make, but a really tough catch. Addison had two drops this game where they were just right there in his chest and just came right out. Thinking, man, come on, you got to catch those. He was still the leading receiver, 4 receptions for 62 yards, but two of those were just right there. And there's been game after game after game where if he catches this pass, all he has to do is make one move and he's gone for a touchdown. And a lot of these one score games, you're thinking, what if, shoulda, coulda, wouldas. But man, he's got to get control of that ball, which for his sake, this is either good or bad if you look at it, because his trade value is starting to tank a little bit with all these drops, because this is on film. Everyone's seeing this. And if he wants to be the one somewhere, never going to happen here with Justin Jefferson here. But if he wants to be the one and he asks for a trade, well, we're not going to trade you for like a third round or a fourth round pick. We're going to keep you because you're really talented. If he played well this year and someone was going to offer us a two or a one, now we can have a conversation. But right now, his value is probably a three. And we're not taking that. I really doubt we take that offer. So he's got to kind of get out of his own way and start catching this ball. Because again, they're not poorly placed balls. They're right in his chest, and he's just dropping them. That's the one nitpick of the offense, I would say. And my last point is, and I made this to you in our chat. It's kind of annoying how well the offense played because this is the recipe that we wanted all year long. Focus on the run game. Defense plays well. McCarthy makes those really key passes, but it's not all on his shoulders. And Kevin O'Connell's offense, the way he developed it this year, it was all on McCarthy's shoulders. He was making him play football like it was advanced calculus instead of let's go to let's go to algebra first, then we'll get to calculus in a couple years. He was giving him calculus right away, and just not fair for the kid. He's only 22 years old, and his offense he played in Michigan was nowhere near this. He didn't have many pass attempts, but I love the way they simplified it. Kevin O'Connell told him, just get rid of the ball, don't overthink it. Were his mechanics perfect? No. Did he play a perfect game? No. There's a couple passes he wishes he had back. But his QBR was 75.1. Passer rating 129.2. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. And there was a fourth down play in the red zone where call the pass play. He found the tight end over the middle touchdown. That touchdown to Josh Oliver, the first touchdown he got, was a really well placed ball, well timed, where the defender was like that close to knocking it away, but he didn't. Touchdown. He in the red zone and on key third down plays, he was lights out like he was in college. Like what we didn't have last year with Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold was lights out from the 20s to 20s on first, second down. But when it came down to crunch time in the red zone, when you have to have it, Sam Darnold didn't do it. He didn't do it for us last year. McCarthy's been the opposite. He's been struggling on like first through second down and in between the 20s. But when it came to the red zone and on key third down plays, McCarthy's been great. So overall, really good win. Um, Tired of the narrative that we should be tanking. We want to see them play well together, and they played well together today. well, I guess Sunday, and the offensive line was mauling people. Yes, it was the Commanders who are 3-10 now. Their defense isn't that great, but they've been playing tough. They have back-to-back overtime losses, one against the Broncos, who are one of the best teams in the league right now. So great win. Well done. We got to move on to next week, Sunday Night Football against the Cowboys. And Eagles fans really need us to win that game. So hopefully we show up. It's at Jerry World. But this was a great win. Offensive played well, very well called game. We got to work on some things. Addison needs to quit dropping those passes. McCarthy needs to be just a little bit more accurate on a couple throws, which he's 22 years old. It's his first year. Makes sense. Um, but overall, a great win.
Yeah, I think that you got some great points, Andrew. The part I was kind of, I thought you might highlight just the fact that you guys averaged almost 5 yards a carry. That's really, really good.
Yep.
Part of the thing I think about those, like, you had talked about splitting up what the running backs do and what JJ McCarthy does, but if something's working, I don't know why you would not continue doing it.
hmm
And I think there's just been games where that has not been KOC. The running game might be
hmm
working, but he doesn't want to win that way. And so he won't
hmm
use that lever. He continues using the same levers with passes and deep concepts. And then they take too long, or McCarthy doesn't quite get in the right spot. And so drives stall out and becomes frustrated. And, yeah, maybe Aaron Jones's 76 yards isn't amazing, but 14 carries, 76 yards, that's pretty good. 11 carries, 52 yards by Mason, that's pretty good. Like, you can't get much better. You shouldn't expect much better from your running backs,
Yeah,
especially someone
especially since
that's
these running backs aren't superstars. These running backs are
no,
solid players. They're not like Saquon Barkley who can break anything at any time. They're just solid players who's going to get you 4 or 5 yards every single time. As long as it's
right,
blocked okay, they're going to get you 4 or 5 yards every single time. And that's all you need. That's all you need.
right. Well, I mean, you think about it. I mean, the part that I always think about is it only takes 10 yards to get a first down. If you're averaging
hmm
3 yards a carry, that's doable. That's doable. Like, you should continue to use that lever or that play option if you're able to get enough to keep going. And yeah, I mean, I definitely, I still am surprised that you guys had more carries than you had um, throws or attempted throws for this
Yeah,
game
I think that that number is probably a little bit skewed because of those 6 carries by
because
McCarthy.
of JJ
Because
McCarthy.
all of those were pass plays where he scrambled. There wasn't like a read option where he ran the ball. It was a called run. So if you throw those to pass attempts, that's 29 pass attempts to 28 run attempts. So it was an even game. But since those pass called plays, he ran the ball. It looks a little skewed, but still 29 to 28. Phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
50, like right down the middle. That's awesome.
Well, I mean, I stand by it, but I think more NFL coaches should have someone on their team telling them how many passes, how many runs that they called.
Mm. hmm
I don't know why you wouldn't want that. Like, um, I understand that you can convince yourself that it doesn't matter, but no, it does matter. It does matter because, I mean, I'm just thinking about it. Do you ever want to run an RPO? And McCarthy can run RPO concepts. He's not going to
Yeah.
be able to burn people, but he could get 5 yards off of an RPO concept and it could go better than
Yeah.
you think it could.
The very first game against the Bears, that was the touchdown to win the game, was an RPO concept that he ran on the
Right.
edge and scored. So yeah, he absolutely can do it.
Well, but I just think the way that I look at it is you have to build a resume. You have to build a resume
hmm
that people believe, because we'll get to it in the next game, but that's the part where the Eagles are lacking right now is this overall resume of being able to run is lacking. Stats will be a little deceiving on this game, but when it came down to crunch time at the end of the game, what fell apart? The run, really, and that was a huge reason why the game wasn't able to be put away. But like if you build up this resume over the season of showing that you can run the football, it makes a difference. They have to account for different things. So yeah, definitely give props. One part I was going to say is a complaint for ESPN. Why would they not show the targets for receivers next to their column for all the information and a box score? Like that's obviously important to know what the target breakdown was, but that is something they never include in the box
hmm
score graphic. I don't know. That's just a, oh, there it is
Yeah.
at the very, very end. Never mind. It's the
Yeah.
very last
I was
column, the
gonna
one that you would
I was
ignore
I was gonna
because
say you have to open it up the full screen. Yeah.
that's just dumb. Just keep it right next to the receptions. That's the most, anyway. Sorry, my tangent's
hmm
over.
And another point I wanted to make, and this was key to Kevin O'Connell. I don't want to say he turned a leaf, but he did this game. We'll see if it continues, but this game, this was a big call for him. So it was like on I think it was like the 12-yard line or something like that, 11-yard line, and it was a 3rd and 1 play in the red zone on like 11 or 12-yard line. And you know, in the back of his mind, he's like, oh, let's call this amazing pass play I've developed in the dungeon last week where I'm just grinding film and saying, yes, this is going to work. But what does he do? Out of shotgun, he hands the ball off to Jordan Mason, who runs up the middle, nothing there, bounces it outside, scores a touchdown. I mean, that's been there all year long. And on 3rd and 1 in the red zone, it's always been a pass play. Just you got to give your ball to your big boys. Let them get 1 yard. If they don't get 1 yard and it's 4th and 1, try again. If they don't get it there, then that's on the player's fault because you gave them a chance. But you got to give him a chance. And he did that play. 3rd and 1, bounce outside, touchdown. It was beautiful. I was watching this game thinking to myself, if we would have done this or somewhere along this game's kind of lines all year long, we're a playoff team. Because there's like 3 or 4 games I can think of where the game script, if we had this play calling, this balance, we win that game instead of losing a close game. The Bears game, where yes, we gave up a really bad kick return to set them up field goal range, but our offense was dead in the water pretty much all game long outside that final drive of McCarthy. Give him credit. He found his receivers, got a touchdown to take the lead, but all game long, not moving the ball because we're trying to hunt deep against the Ravens, 1 score game. But again, we're not that balanced. We're focused on the pass play. Against the Steelers, 27-22. Now, this wasn't McCarthy. This was Carson Wentz, but still, if we have more balanced play calling, we probably win that game too. Those are 3 games that could have easily flipped if the play calling was more balanced to what this team is designed to do. And if that happens, which again, shoulda, coulda, wouldas, ifs, ands, or buts, but if KOC has a better coaching year this year, we're in the playoffs right now, especially that Bears game. Because this Bears lost this last week, they're not guaranteed to get in the playoffs right now. I know they have the Browns this coming week, so they win that game, they're pretty much clinched. But if Minnesota won that game against the Bears instead of lost it, and that's a switch where we're 2-0 against them, I think we have a good chance to surpass them. We still got the Lions, still got the Packers, but so do the Bears. I think the Bears have the 49ers, I think, and the Ravens, something like that. They have some tough games. So it sucks. We're going to come up just short, most likely. But man, KOC would have played this kind of play calling all year long. We'd probably be a playoff team. Now, would we do anything in the playoffs? Probably not, because McCarthy's not really ready to have everything on his shoulders, which in the playoffs he would need, and that's shown. But it's disappointing because we could have been there. But hey, we'll get a higher draft pick. We're gonna pick like around 13, 14 in that range. And we can maneuver, get a guy like, I don't know, the running back Love that everyone's thinking that's gonna be a top 10 pick. Maybe we'll get him. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see, man. It's uh it's early. It's early to be able to start predicting who's going to actually be drafted where in the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah, there's still 4 games left. Anything can happen.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's all I had for this Vikings Commanders game.
Yeah, I mean, gotta give a, sad shout out to Zach Ertz. Sorry for
Oh yeah, I
him.
was gonna get there. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. Um, so I don't know what it is with defensive backs who think that this is the way to play. Now, I know in this particular play, it wasn't as on the DB as like the Kirby Joseph a couple years ago, where he knocked out TJ Hawkinson and I forgot the tight end from the Rams, forgot his name. But it was like back-to-back
Higby.
weeks. Yes, Tyler Higbee. Yeah, Tyler Higbee. This one, Zach Ertz was airborne. So I watching the play during the time when Jay Ward was going to try to dislodge the ball, he wasn't airborne yet, but still, it's just bad. DBs need to quit going low on these tight ends. It's legal. The NFL doesn't have any issues with it, but it something needs to change because I felt terrible as well watching that, seeing Jay Ward go right through his knees, and then you see Zach Ertz on the sideline. I'm like, yep, I know exactly what happened. And they show the replay, and you see his leg kind of bend slowly. Like, that really sucks. And it wasn't necessary because if Jay Ward went a little higher, he would have gotten right in his waist, no injury, moving on to the next play, incomplete pass because that ball was a little high. But he was airborne, so it's not like fully on Jay Ward, but still, that can happen. I feel really bad for Zach Ertz because that's probably his career. He's probably going
Yeah.
to have to call it now. Tore his ACL, probably more. We'll see. I don't know if their actual official diagnosis has been out there yet, but yeah, he's probably done now, and that sucks. And it sucks the way it happened because it didn't need to happen that way.
Yeah. I mean, I can't speak to what the intent was or,
Hmm.
all of the aspects of the play, but I do feel bad for Zach Ertz. Um, I really am trying to think through though. The other part I did want to cover really fast because I know we need to get to the some other news around the NFL and then to the Eagles game, but I don't understand why Jaden Daniels played in this game. I really
Yeah,
don't.
that was silly.
I don't see the benefit. I don't see it. Let put it this way: if Jaden Daniels had been completely healthy, right, no issues, no concerns, no like coming back and getting injured, I would be totally understandable, like of the idea that
Hmm.
yeah, get him reps, let him get better, let him build up. But there's been such bad injury luck for Jaden Daniels this season that there's
Hmm.
5 games left. Sometimes you just have to know when to pull the plug and say, you know what, Jaden, it's not you. It's just the timing of everything. We're just going to sit you.
Hmm.
Okay, we're going to let you heal up. Let's focus on next year, and we'll go from there. Sometimes things are lost, and that's okay. It sucks. Um, if the Commanders let Dan Quinn go because of the season, then they are dumber than I thought they were. Wait, give me just a sec. Uh, had to take a break because I found a spider.
Oh,
Sorry.
you're good.
Sam gets mad at me if I let them get away. Okay, but back to my point. Sorry, that was a critical issue that had to be taken care of, Andrew.
It's important.
Um,
Yes.
but sometimes you just got to know when to sit your players. And so I was really surprised that to
Hmm.
see Jaden Daniels starting this game. I'm sure a Commanders fan would tell me, we never give up. We got to keep going. But
Yeah,
I
but his
think
his
that
elbow was still in that little wrap, and you could tell it was still
right,
bothering him. Even
right,
before when he got knocked to the ground by Isaiah Rodgers, that elbow was bothering him pretty much the whole game. It reminded me so much of that Carson Wentz game against the Chargers. Like, why is he out there? He
yeah,
does not need to be out there. He's in pain. He's not comfortable. That it's just silly.
right, yeah. I'm with you. Well, it is what it is. But I feel bad for Zach Ertz. I tip my hat to him.
Hmm.
I can't
Yes,
remember how many yards did he have in this game. I don't think he
it
had
wasn't
many
much.
yards.
He had one catch for 11 yards.
Yeah, but I mean, overall, still had 500 yards this year, man. Like
Hmm.
he, I would argue he had a better year than Travis Kelce.
Yeah, more
But
impactful
like
for sure.
the reason why I just bring that up is because I think he's a victim to just bad timing. But like you look at his stats, and this dude's a baller. I mean,
Yeah.
he
Last week, I think
really
he had 10
is.
catches for over 100 yards and a touchdown against the Broncos. He was used all over the place last week.
Yeah, I hope that there's some way he wouldn't be a first, second, third, but I hope that like 10th, maybe 15th ballot, he could get into the Hall of Fame. I think he really deserves it. He's got
Yeah,
the accolades, he's got the success. He broke the was it the reception record by Jason Witten, if I'm remembering right, with the
I think
Eagles
so.
for receptions in a year. Yes, because he had 116 receptions in 2018. I just so many there's just so much success he's had in his career, and I think he's just
Hmm.
overshadowed by playing with other great tight ends. But I really do believe someday he deserves his flowers to end up in Canton. He can't be a first ballot,
Yeah,
but 10th ballot maybe. I hope he gets considered because I look at
yeah,
Antonio Gates. I don't know what much less he's accomplished than Antonio Gates. He actually won a ring, by the way. And I think that that should matter when it comes to the committee. Did the player end up
hmm
actually winning a Super Bowl? Yes, he did. Um, but anyway, just sharing that all that to say, wishing my best to Zach Ertz and his family as he's recovering
for
and
sure.
heck of a career, man.
Yeah, definitely. Feel really bad for him. KOC mentioned him in his post-game conference that he had conversation with themselves really good. But yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, definitely. But that's all for me, man. Um, great one for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it matters very little at this moment, but all that is important is the way that McCarthy looks the rest of this year. And maybe
Absolutely.
you slowly open up the playbook a little bit each week, but this is where it needed to start. Next week, maybe instead of 23 pass attempts, he has 27. I don't know, maybe you open up just a little bit more, but it's baby steps. You're not going to advanced calculus right now. Start with algebra, then we'll just scroll up to algebra 2, then pre-calculus, all that stuff. Just baby steps. We'll see if KOC has that patience.
Yeah, who knows? Take it one week at a time. Trust but verify,
Absolutely.
Andrew. Trust but verify.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us in this episode of the Gridiron Grind with Andrew and Lance. We'll jump onto the Eagles game next. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and we'll see you next time.
We'll see everybody.